Time for a football chant, actually.
Oh, fluffy sheep!
Oh, fluffy sheep!
Oh, wonderful!
Oh, wonderful!
Fluffy sheep! Oh, wonderful!
Yes, fluffy sheep! Oh, wonderful!
Yeah, Fluffy Sheep has become the theme tune, the chant of choice for the Wales teams at the Homeless World Cup in Cardiff. It's the third day of the event. It's being held in the city's Boot Park. The weather's been pretty kind so far, hasn't it? We can join our reporter, Colette Hume, who's there now. Hi, Colette.
Hello, and if you're new to this, 48 countries are represented here by more than 500 players in the men's, women and mixed teams. Anyone who's been homeless in the past year or in drug or alcohol rehab in the past 2 years qualifies. And we've got teams from Australia, South Korea, the US and Indonesia. And of course Wales, who are fielding a men and a women's team, the Dragons and the Warriors. Now Gareth, the men got off to a strong start this morning after a 3-3 draw against Switzerland. It was down to sudden death penalties to decide the winner. Wales wing Josh Morgan took the winning shot at goal.
I so nervous, but to have that feeling that it went in and it's got us the 2 points that we needed to go further, absolutely chuffed with myself and also the team.
That was a pretty tough match, wasn't it? There were some serious tackles going in there.
It was very intense. Both teams were really physical. Both teams wanted it as much as each other, and it was an all-round really good game.
Now there was disappointment for the women. They lost their first match to Austria 7-4, and despite a brave performance against Mexico, they just couldn't stop the current world champions and this year's favourites. The final score was 14-0. But, Gareth, in the Wales-Mexico sing-off, as you'll hear now, it was most definitely a draw. Now there was better news for the men. They won 7-1 against Cambodia in their last game. And afterwards, I caught a word with a very croaky goalkeeper, Mark Atkinson, and this, Gareth, is what he had to say.
I'm buzzing. Still got my voice. They were tricky. They were very tricky.
They were.
But
you guys played out of your skins.
I didn't do much. The 4 boys who were in front of me, they'd done the work.
It was all of you. Team effort. Team effort, you know.
I love these guys, they're bits, they're brilliant.
Can you describe how you feel right now?
Without swearing?
Yes, without swearing.
Tremendously proud of myself and my teammates. We've done this for Wales.
Just fantastic stuff. Now, Gareth, away from the football, fans and visitors here to Butte Park are being asked to make pledges to help people experiencing homelessness. Cymorth Cymru, which represents homelessness charities, has been telling me about some of the pledges being made. Here's Katie Dalton.
We've had a really positive reaction, and about 100 people have pledged different actions at our stall, including simple acts of kindness. So there's been loads of people saying they're going to smile at people who are on the streets, have conversations, buy them a sandwich. Loads of children have been coming over and talking about how they're going to give a smile to someone who's homeless. We've also had people talking about supporting calls for more housing. We've had lots of people commit to emailing their assembly members and MPs about the different asks that we're putting to them. So things like calling for more social housing, calling for more investment in support services and reducing the waiting times for universal credit.
And if somebody wants to come down either today or over the next few days, what should they do?
They should come over to the family activity area. That's where we're based. They can come over, have a chat. They can sign their own pledge on the pledge board, have a photo taken, get on social media, and there'll even be a lollipop for anyone who does a pledge.
That's Katie Dalton at the Homeless World Cup, where the weather could have a really big say tomorrow. In fact, anywhere.
Oh, it's day 4 of the Homeless World Cup in Cardiff. I've been looking at the schedule today. There were over 50 matches. Our reporter Colette Hume is in Butte Park for us today. Not sure if she's watched them all. Plenty of matches and plenty of rain as well, Colette.
I did see all of the Wales matches, and as I speak to you now, the Wales ladies are leaving for the day to go back to the student village where they and the other 500 competitors are staying for the week. You're right, it has rained today, but it hasn't dampened the mood. The Wales men, the Dragons, well, they beat Zimbabwe 5-4 with 2 goals from striker Oshan Lloyd. Now, afterwards, he told me that following that match, he was approached by a policeman who said he'd been watching the game. And this is what he told him.
I made him proud, the whole team. He was crying watching it. he said. He said his best team, I was in it, and I'm not going to name others because I'm just going to keep that quiet.
How are you feeling right now?
There's no words to it. I've lost my voice. I'm emotional. I want to cry. Furthest that Wales has ever been. We're not finished yet. On the third day. Oh, wow.
Now, sadly, the men were beaten by the mighty Poland this afternoon 5-2, but they are looking ahead to tomorrow's matches. The women, meanwhile, they face another tough draw this morning against Chile, and unfortunately, Carl, it was 9-0, but they fought back against the local refugee team, Street Football United. They won that match 5-3, and afterwards I spoke to striker Sherry Messer, who was delighted.
Really good game, yeah.
You worked really hard.
Gotta give everyone a chance and you, so we all done well.
Pleased with that performance?
Yeah, very pleased, yeah.
And more to come tomorrow?
Definitely more to come tomorrow. More wins.
So that was Sherry there. Now, away from sport, a handbook for homeless people in the capital has been republished today, 10 years after it was first written by Marky. Now, Marky spent 2 years rough sleeping, and sadly he died this year. Now, with funding from the Homeless World Cup, the Woolwich have republished this guidebook, providing advice on everything from where to find healthcare and the location of night shelters, down to tips about how to survive life on the streets. Amy Lee Pierce from the charity took me through some of that good advice.
So some of the tips and advice in the booklet are things that if you have not experienced rough sleeping, you would not think about. So sleeping on a piece of cardboard at night because it takes away some of the cold and lessens the chances of frostbite. There's advice in there about how to look after your dog. There's advice in there about sleeping out of sight at night time, and that is because there is more risk of attack at night. So Marky in his booklet recommends sleeping in the daytime.
And Carl, this booklet is rip-proof and waterproof so that people who are living rough can keep hold of it and it's not going to get ruined in the weather. Now, the matches here are finishing at around 6:30 and then there will be music. Now, something amazing happened today, as it happens every day here at the Homeless World Cup. I felt like I had access to the most exclusive gig in the world because James Dean Bradfield, frontman of the Manic Street Preachers, was doing a sound check, but it wasn't really a sound check because he didn't twiddle with anything. He just sang. He sang Kevin Carter. He sang all the songs, and there were about 10 of us there listening, and we couldn't believe it. So I think we've got a blast of the sound check. He is on stage live at 7 o'clock here in Butte Park. It's free, so come along and hear James Dean Bradfield. I think there will be more people than the 10, including me, who were there earlier this afternoon. But have a listen. He was brilliant. There we go, James Dean Bradfield and his sound check. Now, we will have more football for you tomorrow. The fixture list will be published first thing and the action starts at 12 o'clock. And talking of music, Carl, I will be introducing you to the South African team, who have a very musical way of walking onto the pitch.
Lovely, Colette, thank you. Sounds brilliant down there. If the rain holds off, I will be heading down there myself. After this programme finishes at 6:30, it's 12 minutes.
We can head to Butte Park now in Cardiff, where the Homeless World Cup has been taking place all week. Colette Hume is there for us this morning. Hello, Colette.
Hi, Natasha. Brighter skies over Butte Park today, where the tournament's taking place, as you say. Now, the men in red, the Dragons, were in action early this morning against Portugal. It was a really tough draw for the guys, and the scoreline of 9-1 to Portugal really didn't reflect the effort on the part of the men in red. Better news for the women. They beat Norway 4-2, but they are suffering a few injuries. Striker Lauren Blood had a scan on an injured hand overnight, and I asked her if putting on the Wales shirt helped to deal with her injury.
Feels great. I don't know, it's just like we all got issues and we just play football and it's much better and it helps us with our mental health and all.
Is it almost like having a suit of armour?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you're carrying a bit of an injury, aren't you? You've had your hand taped up, you've been to the hospital. What's everyone said?
I done my ligaments and I got to have a splint done. So.
But you're still playing?
Yep.
But it's hurting?
Yes.
Well, the laughter you could hear in the background, Natasha, was actually the team captain, Sherry, who was she wasn't sharing the sympathy for Lauren there, but never mind. Anyway, South Africa have become one of the most popular teams in this tournament. Not only are they really creative on the pitch, they're also providing plenty of entertainment before and after their games. Now, I caught up with them and their head coach, Ricardo Derrick, as the team made their way to the pitch, and this is how they do it. This is a very unusual and colourful way of going onto the pitch. Do they do this for every match?
Every match, win or lose, we will ask them to sing. We want to keep that spirit up and obviously create the atmosphere here at the Homeless World Cup.
The young men that you're working with, a lot of them have encountered drugs and gangs.
We've moved into the communities where these gangsterism and violence is quite rife. So it's extremely difficult. I mean, we've got a poverty level of 38% in the country. The guys come from, challenging circumstances. So we hope that this obviously is one of those opportunities for one of them to get out of that.
Well, tomorrow is another day for Wales. The fixture list has, Natasha, in the last few minutes been published. We know that Wales have got another set of tough draws, including Belgium and Egypt. But let's come to the end of this with something happier. Here's a window into those moments with the team when they've had a good win. This is team boss Kerry Harris with the Dragons, moments after they beat Zimbabwe 5-4 yesterday.
Listen, guys, that was amazing. You did fantastic, okay? So proud of you. First game out of 2 today. Let's give this second one a good go, all right? It's going to be really, really tough. And it's going to be tough to keep you focused for the next few hours, but you've got to stick together. Guys, as a squad, you were brilliant and well done.
Come on, lads!
Well, that was the thoughts of Kerry, the man in charge. Tomorrow we'll have more results and we'll be hearing from the head of one of the biggest homeless charities in Wales about what the Homeless World Cup means for rough sleepers on the streets of Wales.
Colette, I'll look forward to it. Thank you very much.
It is day 6 of the Homeless World Cup in Cardiff's Butte Park. Our reporter, Colette Team, has been there pretty much throughout the entire duration. How's it been there today, Colette?
It's been pretty hot and it's been a day of ups and downs, Gareth. The men's team, the Dragons, had a tough start to their day with a draw against Egypt. It was a packed pitch one here at Butte Park for the 15-minute match in which Egypt put no less than 7 goals past the Welsh defence. The men in red got one back shortly before the final whistle. The final score for their first match was Egypt 5, Wales 1. The men then had a couple of hours to regroup before their next match this afternoon against Indonesia. Another action-packed 15 minutes, and they finally clinched victory 8-6 over Indonesia, and that now means they go into the quarter-finals of the middle-tier competition. As for the women, well, the Warriors were fully in charge of their first match of the day from the get-go. Striker Lauren Budd was responsible for 4 of the 7 goals scored by Wales, and the final score for their first match was Wales 7, Belgium 2. And afterwards, I spoke to the Wales women's captain, Sherry Hewson. Did you ever think you'd be captain?
No, I didn't. Like football, I didn't think I'd be playing football myself. So I started in January and then obviously I went to selection day and I got picked. It just feels amazing. There's no words to describe how I feel.
So far this week, you have carried the Welsh flag into the opening ceremony and you are now captain. Does it get any better than this?
No, not really.
Well, bad news for Sherry and the girls, because in the last few minutes the women had faced one of the tournament favourite Netherlands, and the final score there has been Wales 4, the Netherlands 5. Now, away from the football, Gareth, lots of charities working with homeless people have been here at Butte Park, supporting those who are homeless and talking to people who are coming to watch the games about the kind of work they do. Now, we know because we've reported on it across Radio Wales that the number of rough sleepers here is increasing, as it is in the rest of the UK. I caught up with Richard Edwards, the Chief Executive of the Huggard Centre, which support rough sleepers in the capital, and I asked him what, if anything, the Homeless World Cup meant to people living without a permanent home right now.
This is a fantastic event, and I think it's bringing together nations of all around the world to show that homelessness doesn't just have a dark side, it actually has a light at the end of the tunnel. Here we're celebrating achievement and success, and I think that the more we realise and appreciate the achievement and success that people who've been through often very traumatic and difficult lives have come out the other side, and to be here today and to see the success and the joy and the pride on people's faces is worth every penny that's been spent on this event.
So, Gareth, some ups and some downs for the Warriors and the Dragons today. We're just waiting for tomorrow's fixture list to be published, and coming up here with you tomorrow afternoon, we'll be reuniting one of the Wales team members with the man he says saved his life. And you'll be able to hear from both of them on the penultimate day of the Homeless World Cup.
Hey, thanks, Claire. There have been some fantastic stories from the tournament so far, not just on the pitch, but most definitely off it too. Just to let you know, 'cause it's not just